Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is the C9 show, really focused on helping Australian business owners and C-level executives get to grips with digital transformation. I'm Lex.
And I'm Vera. Hello, everyone. We know our C9 followers, you're facing just this, well, unprecedented surge of information.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
So today, we're looking at a really critical shift in data infrastructure and that's happening right now.
Quick hit.
Our mission really is to look at the source material around why you need to migrate, why the, trusted but definitely aging Microsoft Integration Services, SSIS, is actually becoming a competitive liability.
Right.
And why moving to modern AI-driven platforms, something like Microsoft Fabric, isn't really optional anymore.
So we're talking about the difference between staying competitive long-term and, well, potentially becoming obsolete, especially here in Australia's fast-growing digital economy.
Exactly.
Before we dive deeper, let's just frame how big this challenge is. Research keeps showing data volumes here in Australia. They're set to grow, about 23% annually through 2025?
That's right, 23%. And that growth rate, it's just outpacing what these older systems can handle. And it's fascinating how quickly SSIS, that SQL Server Integration Services, the old workhorse for moving data, has become such a bottleneck.
It used to be so reliable, though.
It was for years. But it's hitting a wall now. When we talk ETL extract, transform, load, that whole process of manually moving data around, with legacy SSIS, it's causing delays. We're talking hours, sometimes days.
Days.
Yeah. And if you're waiting till tomorrow to analyze what your customers did today, well, you've already lost.
Okay, let's unpack the real cost of those delays then. When we look at the numbers, the pain is pretty clear, isn't it? What are the sort of tangible costs of sticking with SSIS?
Well, the biggest one is human capital efficiency. The analysis shows these manual ETL processes on older SSIS, they need about 25% more human intervention compared to modern automated systems.
25%.
Yeah. And that translates directly into higher labor costs, obviously, but also, crucially, a higher error rate. Humans doing repetitive, high-volume tasks.
Right. Can you maybe give us a concrete example? What does that 25% inefficiency actually look like for, say, an Australian business listing right now?
Okay, sure. Think about a mid-sized retailer here in Australia. Their SSIS scripts run nightly, maybe. But when one fails, and they do fail, especially complex, manually maintained ones, a database engineer has to step in, manually fix it. That could take hours. Research suggests a typical retailer just using SSIS for inventory and sales data might be facing inefficiencies costing upwards of $100,000 a year.
$100,000?
Yeah.
Just from lost time and manual fixes?
Exactly. That's basically a six-figure tax just for running old technology.
Wow. And $100,000 that could definitely be better used elsewhere, like innovation or scaling. Beyond that direct cost, wasn't another key issue with SSIS how it created data silos? Every integration was sort of bespoke.
Absolutely. Those fragmented SSIS setups, they are the root cause of analytical bottlenecks. An executive might have, dozens of data sources all integrated with different scripts. It becomes impossible to get one clean, unified view of anything, the customer, the supply chain.
You can't make good decisions if your data's all over the place.
Precisely. You can't make timely, unified decisions when your data lives in 20 separate little ponds.
And we can't ignore the regulations here in Australia either, can we? Running outdated infrastructure just increases risk.
Oh, completely. This is critical for C-levels. Older systems, just by their nature, struggle to keep up with changing security and compliance standards. Think about the Australian privacy principles.
Right.
Holding on to SSIS essentially means choosing to operate with avoidable regulatory risk and, frankly, being more vulnerable to breaches.
So if that's the reality of SSS, the pain points, how does this tech gap become a bigger sort of macro competitive problem?
Well, if you connect it to the bigger picture. The data analytics market here in Australia, it's not shrinking, it's booming. It's projected to jump from around $75 billion this year to nearly $95 billion in 2025.
Huge growth.
Massive. And this whole market runs on data velocity, speed. If you do nothing, you're basically standing still while your competitors are migrating, getting up to 30% faster data processing.
So the cost of delay just gets bigger and bigger.
Exponentially. We're seeing companies facing 40% cost overruns just trying to patch and maintain their existing SSIS environment because they put off the migration decision.
Okay, so SSIS is friction, vulnerability. Then Microsoft Fabric is presented as the The seamless evolution, the antidote, leveraging AI to really change that ETL process.
Yeah, antidote is a good word. It's not just a faster SSIS, it's a whole different way of thinking. Fabric shifts data transformation away from being this manual, labor-intensive thing. It embeds AI automation right into the data flow.
And the numbers back that up.
They do. Reports consistently show migrations to Fabric yield, on average, 30% faster processing speeds overall. And importantly, that 25% reduction in manual effort we talked about earlier.
Let's pause there for a sec. For an executive listening, maybe they think, look, our SSIS is running, it does our basic monthly reports. Why spend the money to replace it? Isn't it good enough?
That's a fair question, and it gets to the heart of it. SSIS might be good enough for yesterday's basic reporting,
Okay.
but Fabric is what's needed for tomorrow's predictive intelligence. It enables things SSIS just can't touch, like integrating Azure Synapse for genuine real-time analytics.
So not just overnight batch jobs anymore.
Exactly. We're talking instant processing of streaming data as it happens.
And where does the AI capability really make a difference?
I'd say in real-time intelligence. For sectors like manufacturing, logistics, retail here in Australia, Fabric's real-time intelligence offers event-driven solutions, AI-powered anomaly detection.
So it's spotting problems instantly.
Imagine instantly flagging a machine failure on the factory floor, or a sudden weird shift in online buying patterns. That's proactive intelligence, reacting in minutes, not hours or days later.
And structurally, I hear a lot about OneLake. That sounds key to the speed gains.
Oh, it's the absolute game changer. OneLake is the unified data lake within Fabric. It gets rid of those data silos we mentioned.
How so?
Well, with SSIS, data often had to be copied, moved, stored multiple times for different tools to use it. OneLake stores it once
Oh,
and makes it instantly available to everything. Analytics, data science, reporting no redundant data movement.
and that's where the really compelling results come in, right? That lack of data movement is why clients are seeing these huge boosts, sometimes up to 325% faster access to analytics.
Exactly. It mirrors the industry success stories. And that kind of agility fits perfectly with Australia's huge investment in cloud infrastructure, which is set to double by 2027. Fabric leverages that investment straight away.
Right, the path seems clear then. Migrate to Fabric.
Yeah.
But you mentioned pitfalls. Something about AI Cowboys and vibes coding.
Yes. Executives need to be careful here. The rush to integrate AI quickly has created some significant risks. This lure of quick, cheap fixes.
Okay, let's clarify these. When you say AI Cowboys, what exactly are they doing that's risky for a business?
Well, these are typically developers, maybe small shops, using the latest generative AI tools to just churn out integration code incredibly fast.
Speed is the priority.
Speed above all else, delivering something now, but often bypassing proper engineering standards, documentation, team collaboration. Quality assurance often goes out the window.
So you end up with something shaky.
Very shaky. Solutions that are unstable, under load, maybe insecure, and almost impossible for your own internal teams to understand or maintain later.
Okay. And vibes coding. That sounds a bit less aggressive, more intuitive.
It sounds less aggressive, but it can be just as dangerous. Vibes coding is relying heavily on low-code, no-code platforms or AI-generated solutions without applying deep technical understanding or rigor.
What's the main risk there?
It's not just about poor functionality, though that can happen. It's a potential governance nightmare. How do you actually vet the security and compliance of code spat out by an AI or stitched together quickly on some platform? Especially with sensitive customer data, it creates huge accountability gaps and potential breaches of Australian privacy laws if it's not properly audited.
So the appeal of getting something built cheap and fast is really just pushing the cost down the road, creating technical debt.
Precisely. It's like building a house on cheap, unstable foundations. You will spend far more later patching walls, fixing leaks, reinforcing things than if you just built it properly from the start.
That's technical debt.
That's technical debt. And these low-quality, poorly integrated solutions, they rack up debt that sources confirm can cost up to 40% more in fixes, tuning, even complete replatforming later on.
40% more. Ouch!
Yeah. And that cheap initial solution often leads to vendor lock-in because your team can't fix the black box code and the original Cowboy is long gone.
Which really highlights the value of a more collaborative approach, one that includes proper knowledge transfer. That seems like the crucial difference.
It is. It raises that vital question. How do you make sure your team can actually maintain and evolve the solution after the initial project?
Right.
Knowledge transfer is like the insurance policy against that technical debt. It builds your internal capability, your resilience, and reduces dependency on external vendors. A responsible partner, like C9, builds in mentoring, proper documentation, pair programming, empowering your own team.
So you gain the know-how, not just a piece of software you don't understand.
Exactly. You gain capability.
Okay, so an executive is convinced. They see the need to move from SSIS friction to fabric efficiency.
Okay.
Where do they start?
Mhm.
You stressed earlier that skipping discovery calls is a recipe for disaster.
Absolutely critical. Moving to these modern AI solutions isn't like upgrading your phone. It's not cookie cutter. It needs precision. Skipping that initial deep dive discovery call is probably the single biggest reason these projects fail.
Why is that?
Because the vendor simply won't understand the unique quirks of your existing SSIS setup, your specific data quality issues, your particular real-time needs, your security posture. You end up with mismatched integrations, budget blowouts, and the same old inefficiencies just dressed up differently.
Right. The sources we looked at outlined a very structured discovery process, though, designed to avoid that.
Yes, it needs to be systematic, but also respectful of an executive's time. It usually starts with what we call initial alignment, maybe 10, 15 minutes.
Setting the goals.
Exactly. What are the core business aims? Is it cutting costs by 20% through ETL automation? Is it giving the sales team real-time stock levels? Get that clear first.
And then
Then comes the deep dive. Maybe 20, 30 minutes of more rigorous analytical questions. This is where you map the specific organizational barriers. Maybe it's resistance to change. Maybe it's the sheer complexity of 50 different SIS packages to the specific fabric features that address them. Like, okay, we need Azure Synapse to get those 30% faster insights.
that clarity seems vital, especially when it comes to pricing. We need to talk about the trap of the vague indicative quote.
Oh, yes. Those vague quotes, they're often worse than useless, frankly. They can be really misleading.
How so?
Well, you might get a proposal saying, $50,000 for a 2-3 week shift to Fabric. But that number is based on a whole load of assumptions about your data, your complexity, that almost never turn out to be true.
Right, it ignores the specifics.
Completely ignores your unique security needs, compliance hurdles, the actual state of your SSIS scripts. It pretty much guarantees a nasty surprise invoice partway through the project.
So contrast that with discovery-based pricing. That provides precision and allows for a quicker ROI.
That's the key difference. Discovery-based pricing is precise, often down to the nearest hour, but it's determined after that initial deep dive. And crucially, we really advocate for a staged delivery model.
Stage delivery.
Yeah, so you get value back early, the initial investment, stage one, the discovery and planning, that's typically quite small, maybe 10 to 20 hours of work, so between $2,000 and $4,000.
Okay, that's manageable.
Right. And that small investment delivers a precise scope and ensures the total migration cost is actually funded by the efficiency gains you start seeing almost immediately.
That model makes sense. The investment essentially pays for the returns. We saw that powerful example, didn't we?
Yeah.
An Australian manufacturer.
Yeah, that was a great case. They were spending about $850,000 a year just maintaining their old SSIS setup.
Right.
They invested that initial couple of thousand in discovery. That resulted in a firm staged migration plan costing around $18,000 total.
And the result?
That migration gave them 30% faster data processing, which led to annual savings of $45,000.
So the $18,000 investment paid for itself in, what, less than 6 months?
Less than 6 months, yeah. And delivered ongoing savings year after year. Without that discovery phase, you can bet that same project would have likely ballooned way past $70,000 because of scope creep and those faulty initial assumptions.
Okay, so to wrap things up today, what we've explored really suggests that future-proofing your Australian business means moving decisively, getting away from SSIS friction, the cost, the manual work, the security risks, and embracing fabric efficiency. And doing it now.
Yeah, it's the necessary step to really maximize profitability and just stay competitive as we head into this, 2025 AI-centric landscape.
So what does this all mean for you, the executive listening?
Well, it means your operational efficiency, your long-term security, your team's capability. It all hinges on choosing the right partner. One focused on sustainable, well-governed solutions and that crucial knowledge transfer, not just the quickest, cheapest AI build from someone you don't know.
Let's leave you with one final thought to consider. Beyond just efficiency gains, think about the ultimate cost, the one you maybe can't insure against, those security vulnerabilities in aging legacy systems. Systems that just don't meet modern compliance standards anymore. Can your business really afford that risk, especially when a precise staged solution is available?
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the source material today. We really hope this gives you the insights and maybe the confidence to start thinking about this critical transition.
Absolutely. And if you found this valuable, please do click that follow button. And maybe share this with other Australian business leaders you think could benefit from this knowledge. Ready to start revolutionizing your data integration and move beyond SSIS.
Then book a discovery call with C9, Australia's leading custom software, apps, integration, and database developer company.
You can find out more about our structured process and book that initial alignment call right on our website, www.c9.com.au.
Thanks again for listening.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.